let's talk about AEW Revolution. It is happening on Sunday, 6th of March, actually in England on the 7th of March at really, really early morning, but it is officially Sunday, 6th of March, and there's quite a few matches. So we'll run through the matches, we'll give our predictions, and you know what? I've got a strong feeling that we will not get a new AEW champion, but let's start from the bottom. Let's start from the face of the Revolution match. Has the 6th or the 5th member been, have they said who that person is yet? But yeah, whoever it is.
I've just had a look, and they haven't announced him yet. There's still one slot open.
Okay, so if you had to predict in that case, who do you think's winning
it? I don't think they should give it to Keith Lee because I think he's just come back. I think give it to Wardlow. I think they'll give it to Wardlow, and then you can easily just fold that into his storyline with MJF as well. And I think it's come about time that they rip the plaster off Wardlow and just push him as this big uber baby face that they've slowly been teasing for the last few weeks. So I think they'll give it to Wardlow.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'd say they'd give it to Keith Lee, but because Wardlow's going to lose because of Shawn Spears, I think Wardlow is probably gonna be there in the position wise. But then Shawn Spears is going to go and mess it up. And then that will lead to Wardlow not helping MJF against CM Punk. And then CM Punk wins. That, at least that's my take. But yeah, fair point, fair assessment that. But yeah, Keith Lee for me personally. Next match, I've got it written down in front of me. So that's what, yeah. Next match is Andrade, Matt Hardy, and Isiah Cassidy versus Sting, Darby Allin, and Sammy Guevara. The good guys are winning this. If the bad guys win, I'm absolutely shocked, and I'm so surprised that Jeff Hardy still hasn't debuted for AEW. But alas, we'll just have to wait. But definitely, Darby Allin, Sting, Sammy Guevara, there's such faces right now, right? So at the top of their level within AEW that I don't think they should lose, personally. What do you think?
No, I completely agree with you. I think that team will go over. The baby faces will go over. I don't really see what is this feud achieving. Like,
I'll tell you, it's achieving the fact that two of the biggest young stars that AEW's built up are working together in a match against 2 to 3 really, really big names just to get them a bit more of a rub. That, at least that's what I take on it. Because there's nothing else. It is a useless match. And I don't like the feud. No offense to Matt Hardy. Haven't liked him since he's debuted in AEW. Andrade has had a really bad booking process. And I think you mentioned it earlier. It's just weird. And Isiah Cassidy, don't remember who he is. So for that reason, I can't really tell you. But from the good guy's perspective, huge Sting fan, huge Darby Allin fan. And Sammy Guevara, I know he's going to stay a babyface for now, but he needs to go back to being heel soon because this guy was a better heel, man. Like he is like MJF in that sense, right? You want to kill him because he is such a good bad guy. You want to slap him in the face. You know that video I shared with you, right? Like MJF fighting with that 9-year-old girl. Like it doesn't make sense, but that's the type of guy I think Sammy Guevara can easily pull off too. But yeah, we're both in agreement there. Then we've got Eddie Kingston versus Chris Jericho. Right? That's the worst Chris Jericho impersonation ever. But what are your thoughts? Do you think Chris Jericho is going to win, or do you see Eddie Kingston pulling a surprise? Because I don't expect him to win. I think Jericho's going to win.
No, I think Eddie Kingston should come out the winner on this and get the Jericho rub that he deserves. I think it'll be a good match. Definitely be a good match. But I do think that Eddie Kingston deserves that win, and then maybe you can have like Santana and Ortiz in it, and they double cross Jericho, or they stab him in the back, and then you have like the inner circle just crumble. But I wouldn't be. I honestly don't know where they're going with this. I do think that Eddie Kingston should win, though.
Yeah, fair point. I think getting all the good guys to win the show might not be might be the right way to go about it. For me personally, I think if Jericho wins, it just prolongs the feud because I've seen from my perspective at least, Chris Jericho as a bad guy always works really, really well. And Eddie Kingston, he's like he's a face that has an attitude, if you know what I mean. So that's why he's just in that middle kind of space.
Yeah.
So he can switch either way depending on which feud he's going for.
Yeah.
So I think
he has a bit of a Punk Austin type grittiness.
Austin, yes.
To him, where
Definitely.
people like him because he is who he is. He tells you straight to his face that he's like, I don't like you, I'm going to beat you up. There's no beating around the bush, dancing around type. He's just that real. And I think that the AEW audience, being in that 18 to 49 demographic, I think they relate to him in that the way he is. So I think he could be like one of the biggest baby faces there.
I'll tell you something funny that I just remembered. That entire promo with Jericho, where Jericho's like, you might be one of the biggest baby faces in AEW. He's like, what's a baby face? And I cracked up like crazy. But yeah, 100%. I get where you're coming from. Next match on my list is Jon Moxley versus Bryan Danielson. And do you know what? The guy who can take losses and still come out strong, for me, is Bryan Danielson. He can lose every single match, but he comes out so strong every single time. So for me, I'm going Mox for this. I think Jon Moxley's come back from the entire, fiasco about the drinking problem and stuff. So, and plus he's the quintessential face of the company, in my opinion, right now, apart from maybe Adam Page, right? So him coming in and then absolutely battering Bryan Danielson, Danielson doing all his locks and moves and all submissions and all that good stuff. But Moxley's going to win. I think Moxley's going to win, and Bryan Danielson's going to just he's not going to shake his hand because he's going to go down that, heel path for the foreseeable future, I think. But yeah, that's my take on it, at least.
I think if you are a fan of just the sport of professional wrestling, like strip away the storylines and the characters and everything, if you are just a fan of the mat-based sport, this is going to be the match for you.
Yeah,
I think they're two of the best. It is going to be an absolute classic, like similar to Omega, Bryan Danielson, that type of level of a match. I think that they are going to have here. I'm very intrigued to see where they go with it, though, because they have been teasing that Danielson wants to form some sort of tag team and he wants to change AEW and the roster and everything. So I'm very intrigued to see where they go with that. But I do think that, like you said, I think Bryan Danielson is so, like, the losses don't affect him.
Yeah,
He'll be able to bounce back from any loss, and I think Jon Moxley goes over on this one, and maybe Moxley going over is what finally triggers Danielson to become like that fully fledged deranged heel, where he's just beating people up regardless and has no care for their well-being and whatnot.
I was just going to add something. If Danielson wins, I think they become a tag team. But if Moxley wins, I think Danielson goes down the rails and becomes the full heel that he became in WWE for like a year or something. The environment eco guy, which something like that. Yeah, fine, happy with that. Next match is the dog collar match between Maxwell Jacob Friedman, or what is it, Miz, or My Jealous Fan, whatever it is, MJF versus CM Punk. I'm going Punk. I've got a strong feeling that Punk's going to win, and it's going to be because Wardlow's not going to help MJF this time around.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I'll be super happy because that puts us straight into the MJF Wardlow feud. If, again, considering the circumstances, if Wardlow doesn't win the Revolution ladder match, but even if he does, that might be the case. But genuinely, I think CM Punk should win this one.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that's a sensible conclusion to this feud. I'm not sure. Have you seen what happened with them on Dynamite last night?
Yeah.
So I think that was the best way to do it. Now you've made him even more like a despicable character and hated and everything. But yeah, I think that's the best way to go. And I think you should have like Wardlow finally snap and just powerbomb MJF to hell, and then hear that huge crowd just roar. But yeah, I think it's Punk going over. The match will be great, as we'll come to expect. Punk goes over, moves on to whatever's next for him. And then we go straight into that MJF Wardlow feud. So yeah.
I think that's cool. And do you know what? The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was, I forgot the rest of the line, but I love that line. Like, it doesn't exist or didn't exist. Right. Next match is the TBS title. I'm not even going to name the opponent for Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill's going to win. I know it's Ty Conti, but Jade Cargill is going to win. It doesn't make sense to take it off her. She's she's a monster. She is Goldberg and Brock Lesnar merged into one, right? That's the best analogy I could use. And she's going to win it. So I'm not going to ask you, man, but I know she's going to win it in like 6 minutes, maybe 7. I'm going to go to the next match, honestly. Then we've got the triple tag team match, or the quadruple triple tag team match. Jurassic Express. I was going to say Jurassic Park. Jurassic Express, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. And then who else is it? Who's
Young Bucks.
And the Young Bucks, obviously. So I really, really want the Young Bucks and Kyle. Have they got a name? The Undisputed Era. Red Dragon, thank you. I was going to say Undisputed Era. Right? Red Dragon, I think they're going to have a complete falling out in this match. They're going to start off being friends, and then slowly, they're going to implode, for lack of a better term, and Jurassic Express is going to keep the titles, because these two don't need a title to kind of, these two teams don't need a title to fight over. They can just fight over freaking Adam Cole, right, for lack of a better term. So, yeah, I think that's definitely a case. And the Young Bucks might start becoming a bit more of a face-ish character, I believe, over the next few months, because of, if you remember when Kenny Omega lost to Hangman Page, they had that entire scene, right? Where it's like, yeah, go for it. So I think when Kenny comes back heel. But for me, Young Bucks slowly will transition into that face role. But yeah, who do you think is going to win?
No, I agree with you. I think the Jurassic Express will walk out retaining the championships. I think the story there is the feud between Red Dragon and the Young Bucks, and then you've got Adam Cole sandwiched in between. Where does his allegiances lie? If I was writing that story, I think you would want Adam Cole to kind of like chip away at the elite and Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and everything, and his true allegiances are with Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, and then you have Kenny Omega come back whenever he's fit and healthy, and then you have those like teams go against each other. That's where your story is, I think, and I think that's where the money is as well. But yeah, I agree with, in terms of this match, I think that you'll have a bust up between Red Dragon and the Young Bucks, and then you'll have Adam Cole sandwiched in between, and Jurassic Express will walk away with the straps in that match.
Yeah, I think that is the most logical choice. If we go to the last 2 matches on the docket, but before we do, I just want to add something. Again, I don't want your opinion if you don't want to give it, but I think the next Stadium Stampede match is going to be Undisputed Era, the Collective versus the Elite. Yeah. That I think that's almost set in stone. Right. Go on to Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa for the AEW Women's World Championship. I'm going to ask you, who do you think is going to win?
I think Thunder Rosa will win this one.
Wow. I was going to say Britt Baker. Yes, she's held it for ages, but I've got a strong feeling. Well, not a strong feeling. I've got a feeling that Britt's still going to win it. But why do you think so? Why do you think Thunder Rosa is going to take the title off her?
I think that that's the only logical conclusion. Like, they had that huge street fight. I think it was, I'm not sure if Britt was even champion then. But I think they had that huge street fight, and then they had Britt go over, I think. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, no, sorry. Thunder Rosa went over in that one, but then Britt became champion. I think that the championship reign of Britt, I think it has just become diluted. And I think they just need to take the championship off her, give her some other direction to go in. And I think the only other person who you have who could be seen as a viable champion is Thunder Rosa, because Britt Baker has beat everybody else. If this was it's Britt Baker and Jade Cargill, then you could be like, oh, okay, I can see. She hasn't beat her. She's up and coming. She's on a winning streak. She's hot. She's new. But I think Thunder Rosa is your only viable option right now, and I think she will go over and win and become your new women's champion.
Fair enough. I don't want to disagree with you, because I had a feeling maybe Britt Baker was going to stick to it, but what you present kind of makes sense. I just want to add something. I genuinely thought yesterday that I saw a video which said Sasha Banks in AEW, but that was a lie. That was a lie. That wasn't real. But if that happens, Britt Baker versus Sasha, just putting it out there for people to fantasy book. Final match, the main event of AEW Revolution 2022, Hangman Adam Page versus Adam Cole, baby. There we go. So I think if Adam Cole wins this would be amazing, right? If Adam Cole wins this, it would be a very WWE move, but it would be amazing. However, keeping that in mind, I think Hangman Adam Page is just gonna win it, because he just got it's been 3 months or something, right, since he became champion. It's not that long, and he's gonna stay as champion until MJF probably, or we've had these discussions, but until another heel beats him. But I think he's not defended as much this title as someone of his caliber should have. So for that reason, I think Adam Page is gonna go over. But if Adam Cole wins, that would be left field. And people won't hate that. People won't hate it, because everyone loves Adam Cole, even though he absolutely derailed on Adam Page and the Dark Order on AEW Dynamite. I was like, oh, he's like, it just doesn't, it didn't feel good. So maybe for that reason, they will go for Adam Page probably like 100%, but Adam Cole is the left field decision. What are your thoughts?
As much as I would like to see them put the championship on Adam Cole, I don't think it's going to happen. For a couple of reasons. Of one which you just mentioned, like they just put the championship on Hangman Page. I think it was like November, December time, whenever their last pay-per-view was. That's when he won the championship. So he hasn't really defended it as much since then. And there's still time to go with his championship reign as well. If you take the title off him, what does he do? Where does he go? What is his next storylines? Whereas, like we've just discussed, there is already a story there for Adam Cole to go into. So that's one of the reasons I don't think that they will put the championship on Adam Cole right now. Not to say that he won't win, just later on down the line maybe. And then they can fully like put him into that feud with the Young Bucks and Red Dragon and all that sort of stuff. But then at least you've got Hangman Page as your champion, and like you said, he can face other people, an MJF, Punk, Moxley, Bryan Danielson. Not Bryan Danielson because he's already beat him, but other people that you can put him in
Keith Lee, Wardlow.
Wardlow, whoever, you can put him in a championship feud with other people. At least he's in a spot of relevancy there. Whereas if you take the title off him, okay, you've took the title off him, you've put it on Adam Cole, and you've beefed up this story here. But what are you doing with him now? Yeah. So I think the smart move would be to keep the title on Hangman.
Yeah, makes complete sense. Thank you, Amaan.